Live, this is News 8 at 10 on MyTV9.
The national conversation about whether police should wear body cameras has reached Connecticut. The Hartford Police Department is one step closer to requiring officers to wear them. Good evening. I'm Ann Nyberg.
I'm Darren Kramer. A couple of cities in Connecticut have already made the decision to put those cameras on officers, and Hartford could be next, but there's still some questions that need to be answered. News
8's Bob Wilson was at the City Council meeting this evening. He has some answers for us tonight. Bob, let's have your recap.
Well, here's the thing. It's a body camera. It's a small little camera that can mount right on the shoulder here, clip out, and it can kind of see where the officer looks, and it can capture the scene as it unfolds in front of the officer. They say it's not an end-all and be-all to everything because it doesn't catch everything up close, and things might have happened before the officer got there, but it does give you a snapshot instead of eyewitness account. Now, tonight, City Council voted to put it to committee so that a committee can study exactly how these cameras work, how much they will cost, and they have something to go off of because Hartford has had these cameras, 40 of them, for quite a while now, and they've been testing them. And now with this data, the City Council can move forward to see whether or not they will be right for their officers. Coming up tonight on News 8 at 11, we'll discuss what the officers like about them, what City Council thinks might not be good about them, and what the people had to say as they stood up and unloaded both barrels on City Council. I'm Bob Wilson reporting live in Hartford, News 8.
All right, Bob, thanks. A former Hartford firefighter facing his third drunk driving charge in Norwich.
45-year-old Cinque Scott appeared in court today in his prison uniform. He's already serving 4 months for his second drunk driving conviction. Police say Scott was driving erratically on Route 2A in Preston in January. He was charged with drunk driving again, as well as driving with a suspended license on the same day he resigned from the Hartford Fire Department.
I'm kind of surprised because they're supposed to be out here protecting, and hearing something like that is just a terrible thing to hear.
Last week, Hartford Fire Chief Carlos Huertas forwarded a notice announcing a DUI checkpoint in the city to his staff. Some think it was because of the alcohol-related troubles already facing several firefighters.
A New Haven cop was caught on camera taking up 2 handicapped parking spaces at a local restaurant, but it turns out he had a good reason. He was responding to a call. This is the photo that was sent in to us from a News 8 viewer. We went looking for answers, and workers at that Taco Bell restaurant say the officer was on a job. The customer at the restaurant was doing drugs in the bathroom, they say, and started attacking a handicap sign outside. That whole thing's still under investigation. We did reach out to New Haven officials about it. The director of communications there tells us, quote, the city cannot and does not condone parking violations, particularly by those who drive city vehicles. It's my understanding the police department is currently looking into the exact circumstances pictured here. 9 Hartford students wound up in the hospital tonight after their school bus crash. Happened on Asylum Avenue and Scarborough Street. About 25 kids were on board the bus. All the injuries are minor. Police are still figuring out what caused that accident.
In Hartford, sidewalks were closed in front of City Place on Asylum Street because of huge icicles and snow falling from the buildings. Crews are out in full force today taking care of that problem.
All right, let's get a first check on your forecast tonight. Meteorologist Kyla Grogan is here with a look at that. Kyla?
Yeah, we did have some melting today, and that can cause some problems, as you just heard in that story. But right now, we're actually pretty problem-free. We've got a few clouds, not bad at all, but look what's hanging off my shoulder there. That is the Clipper system bringing some snow right now to parts of the upper Midwest and heading right across Lake Michigan and heading our way, expected to be here on Thursday. No snow to worry about right now, though. In New Haven, 31 degrees, and you can see skies are relatively clear. We should be looking forward to more sunshine tomorrow. The winds are still kicking up at the coast there in New Haven, about 13 miles per hour. Greenwich, about 15 miles per hour. And you can see New London, 10 miles per hour. And then up in Windsor Locks, they're up there too. But the rest of the state, not too bad. Temperatures right now dropping into the teens there in Oxford, but we're still hanging on to those 30s all the way from Bridgeport to Chester, upper 20s for Windsor Locks and Hartford. And you combine those temperatures with a little bit of that wind, and you do have a bit of a wind chill. So we do feel a bit cooler than those temperatures out here. These are your feels like temperatures right now. But still not bad, right? Feels like 24 in Chester and about 19 in Greenwich and about 18 in Danbury. Oxford there, they get a little bit colder. Well, we do have a few things to talk about. I'm sure you've heard. And tomorrow, still going to be a dry day. We'll be in the 20s, a little cooler than today, but we'll get that sunshine in there. Then not one, but 2 clippers coming our way, one on Thursday, one on Saturday. And behind all of that, accompanying those systems, an Arctic chill is going to be moving in. Incredibly cold air there, colder than any we've really seen this season so far. So I'm going to time those storms out for you and tell you how cold it's going to get and what your Valentine's Day weekend will be like. Guys, back to you.
All right, Kyla, thanks. New at 10 tonight, 2 dogs are dead after this house fire in Groton. This happened on Indian Field Road. 1 adult and 1 child did get out safely. They're being put up by the Red Cross tonight. That home is unfit to stay in.
The Department of Motor Vehicles is going to be jammed up for the next 6 weeks or so. They'll even be closed some days, but there's a good reason for that.
Yeah, the state is transferring to a brand new computer system, and that means offices will be shut down a couple at a time while the new system gets up and running. Our chief Capitol correspondent Mark Davis has a look.
Beginning next week and for the next 6 weeks, we will need to close 2 branches a week for 4 days, Tuesday through Friday.
The DMV says it has adjusted well to the influx of more than 35,000 undocumented residents applying for license tests. But the conversion to a new $25 million computer system starting next week is expected to be a much bigger challenge. Over 45 million DMV records had to be converted to the new system. The governor said today that he could not promise that the computer upgrade will go smoothly.
I can't promise, any technology turnover. What I can tell you is that using technology that's 20 years old was not going to get the job done any longer.
In fact, the current system is considered to be decades out of date. And when the conversion is complete, the state says you'll be able to conduct much more DMV business from your home or business online. The offices in Bridgeport and Norwalk and Stamford will be closed next week. New Britain and Enfield the week after. Willimantic and Norwich the week of March 3rd. Waterbury and Danbury the week of March 10. Hamden and Old Saybrook the week of March 17. And Wethersfield the week of March 24th.
When everything's said and done, people will be able to do so many more things from home rather than having to go to a motor vehicle facility.
The DMV is advising the public to expect delays at the branch offices during this period as overflow from the branches that will be closed is expected. I'm Mark Davis, News 8.
The state's Attorney General George Jepsen has given Anthem Health Insurance 24 hours to respond to him as to how they are going to handle one of the biggest hacking nightmares in history. It affects tens of millions of people across the country, 1.14 million just alone in this state. That's a third of the population. Names, social security numbers, and dates of births may be compromised. Jepsen says Anthem has failed to communicate and give guidance to those affected, saying in, quote, part, my office has been flooded with phone calls from concerned Connecticut residents who are frustrated with a lack of information from Anthem, and their feelings are completely justified. We'll let you know how the company responds.
Police in Waterbury say they found 1 dead dog and 4 others that had been abused while making a drug bust Friday. It happened on High Street. Police say when they showed up, they found 4 dogs tied up, the other one dead in an abandoned car on the property. They also found cocaine, heroin, guns, and a stolen motorcycle. Police arrested Abel Rodriguez. He's charged tonight with animal cruelty and possession of narcotics. Officials in Middletown investigating a body found in the woods there this morning. A man's body found in an area Broad and William Street around 8 o'clock. Medical officials that arrived there couldn't revive him. The man has not been identified. Police say they do not think that death is suspicious.
A New Haven teenager is recovering after accidentally starting a fire this afternoon. The teen had just gotten home from school and he lit a candle in his home on Shelton Avenue. And the next thing he knew, a mattress was on fire.
He lit a candle for whatever reason. I don't know why he lit a candle. And then I guess he tried to douse it out and it just went up in flames.
Firefighters contained the fire to the 2nd floor. The teen was treated at a local hospital for smoke inhalation and minor burns.
A lot of questions tonight about the death of an American held by ISIS. Just ahead here on News 8 at 10, while the U.S. tries to figure out what happened, we're hearing what she had to say to her family in a letter.
NBC News has made a decision about Brian Williams after he was caught in a lie about the war in Iraq. We'll tell you what the network is doing.
New dangers in Boston where the weight of that record snowfall is bringing down roofs there. That's coming up in a minute. But first, here's meteorologist Kyla Grogan.
Yeah, and I've got not 1, but 2 low pressure systems, both of them heading our way, both of them capable of bringing some snow to New England. I'll detail all of it for you coming up in my full weather forecast here.
All right, and coming up tonight on News 8 at 11.
A new police boat in the town of Old Saybrook, the big topic of conversation tonight, packing this auditorium. But some saying some previous comments made by the police chief, making this a much bigger issue. I'm Erin Logan. I'll have that story coming up at 11.
You're watching News 8 at 10 on MyTV9.
The family of the 26-year-old American woman who died while being held hostage by ISIS is speaking out.
Yeah, Kayla Mueller, who was just 26, left a letter behind too. ABC's Karen Travers has that.
There are many questions about the tragic death of Kayla Mueller. Over the weekend, Mueller's family received a private message from their daughter's ISIS captors, which included photographic evidence of her body.
That information was shared with the intelligence community. They concluded that Kayla has, in fact, died.
But the U.S. government didn't know how or when. ISIS claimed last Friday that the 26-year-old American aid worker was killed in a Jordanian airstrike, but offered no public proof. U.S. and Jordanian officials expressed skepticism of the group's claims then and now.
There is no evidence of civilians in the target area prior to the coalition strike taking place.
Mueller was the last known American hostage. She was captured in Syria in August 2013. Today, her family released a letter she sent them last spring. She wrote, "I have a lot of fight left inside of me. I am not breaking down, and I will not give in, no matter how long it takes." The Mueller family said in a statement that Kayla lived with purpose, and they will work every day to honor her legacy.
She has done more in her incredible 26 years than many people could ever imagine doing in their lifetime.
President Obama spoke to Kayla Mueller's family today to offer his condolences. In a statement, he vowed to bring to justice those responsible for her captivity and death. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
A rookie New York police officer who fatally shot an unarmed man in the stairway of a Brooklyn housing project has been indicted. Peter Lang shot I.K. Gurley in November. Lang said he had his gun in his hand. It accidentally went off. He's expected to be charged with second-degree manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide, and assault.
Developing tonight, NBC News has suspended nightly news anchor Brian Williams for 6 months without pay after an investigation into a story Williams made up about being shot down in a helicopter in Iraq. NBC says Lester Holt will anchor that program during Williams' suspension. And Comedy Central announcing tonight Jon Stewart is leaving The Daily Show as a host later this year. Stewart broke the news to his audience tonight at a taping in New York. Stewart took over that show in 1999. It has been very successful. Comedy Central lost Stephen Colbert earlier this year to CBS.
The city of Boston continues to try and get rid of tons of snow before the next storm moves in. City officials are reaching out to professors from local universities to see if they can help.
They're trying to avoid putting snow into the harbor like they've been forced to do in other parts of that state. ABC meteorologist Rob Marciano is in Boston.
Tonight, the Northeast is a region under siege, 6 feet under and bracing for more. Massachusetts governor calling in the National Guard.
200 will deploy in 50 teams of 4 men and women in Humvees and will assist cities and towns in digging out hydrants and other critical assets.
In Palmer, Massachusetts, 1 person was killed in this overnight fire.
The hydrants weren't shoveled over in this corner, so it slows things down.
After 6 feet of snow across the Boston area, cars like this might be a lost cause until spring. And here in Charlestown, where the streets are narrow to begin with, they're even more narrow after all this snow. Dan Gormalley's digging out his second car of the morning at 7 a.m. Have you ever seen it like this?
No, it's been mountains, but not like that. There's never been like iceberg boulder type things.
This music store in Rockland collapsing under snow. Inside, a mess of insulation.
And there's a lot of snow in there.
And Channel 5's Jack Harper on the scene of this collapse.
This huge building dating back to the Civil War collapsing this morning under the pressure of the snow. This building sure to be condemned in the upper floors. Much of it will have to come down.
Icy roads and accidents throughout the region, including this 40-car crash on the New Jersey Turnpike. 1 person killed, more than 60 injured. And tonight, new pictures. The next storm already hitting the Midwest and moving east. Boston bracing yet again. This headline saying it all, piling it on. They have received nearly 2 years worth of snow here just in the last 2 weeks. Finally, some bare pavement, but a lot of that snow's been pushed off to the sides, burying these parked cars. The city hopes to be back on its feet. The mayor has announced that schools will be open on Wednesday, just as another shot of Arctic air and more snow heads this way. Rob Marciano, ABC News, Boston.
It really is incredible. Those photos are incredible.
Yeah, you think it was bad here, man, they are being crushed.
No, I was just telling these guys, I saw a picture of Fenway Park just covered in snow. You can't even see anything. It's crazy. Okay, so it could be worse, I think, is the takeaway.
As we just saw, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it could be worse. But we do have more winter weather heading our way, too, so we're going to get everybody ahead of it. Now, the good news is we had a pretty nice day today. We're going to have a pretty nice day tomorrow. It will be a little bit cooler, but not bad. And right now, 29 degrees in Hartford. Hey, we'll take it, right? We don't have any snow to worry about. And you can see as we look at that little picture of the moon there by the temperature, nice clear skies. And that's what we've been seeing throughout our evening tonight. Take a walk around the state with me and look at the temperatures here. Milford still hanging on to 30 degrees, 25 in Southbury, Meriden about 28 degrees. And you see a lot of these mid to upper 20s, including in Enfield, 27 degrees, and Chester about 29. And look at Groton, 30 degrees for them and 30 degrees for Clinton too. So definitely hanging on to those temperatures at the coast. Our winds are not bad. We do have a few spots kicking up. New Haven is one of them at 13 miles per hour and Windsor Locks about 14 miles per hour. Everyone else between that 5 and 10 mile per hour range. So it does knock the temperatures down a little bit, give us a little bit of a wind chill. So we're not really feeling upper 20s. We're feeling lower 20s instead all across the state. But compared to what we've seen, not bad at all. So tonight, it's going to be a relatively cold, quiet night tonight. Temperatures will be dropping down into the teens. So anything that melted today, definitely going to see some refreezing as we head into the overnight hours. So watch out for those slick spots if you're up early in the morning. Speaking of tomorrow, little more sunshine coming our way. That'll be nice. We'll hold on to those clear skies. A little bit of a wind chill, though, so those temperatures that will make it up into the mid to upper 20s will feel a little bit cooler than that, so don't let the sun deceive you. And then we've got the big story. 2 clippers, not 1 but 2, following the same path, tracking towards us. This one Thursday. That's the one we're going to see Thursday in the afternoon. So our early morning rush should be okay. Afternoon could be a bit messy. And these are expected to set up offshore and bring about 1 to 3 inches of snow. But if they set up closer to us, we could get more than that. This is the second one expected to come in Saturday night into Sunday. That is, of course, your Valentine's Day weekend. So just keep an eye on the weather there. Make sure you dress appropriately if you're heading outside. Now, let's time this out. The Thursday clipper, that's 8 a.m. on Thursday, and you can see we've got some clouds, but not too bad until we get into the afternoon. That's about 3 p.m. when you see some of that snow rolling in. By the time we hit 6 p.m., now we're all in it, and then it clears out rather quickly as we get into our Thursday night overnight hours, and then it is out of here. But behind it, some incredibly cold, frigid air coming in. And how cold? Well, this is how cold. Take a look at the shoreline. Average temperatures for your lows, 25 degrees. Thursday, Friday. Look at Saturday, down to single digits and negative numbers on Monday. The inland communities not doing any better there. Your average about 20 degrees. And as you can see, we will walk down to 0 on Saturday for a low and -8 on Monday. So incredibly chilly air coming your way. Take a look at your 8-day forecast. We've got some nice sunshine in there tomorrow, but then the clipper comes in on Thursday with a little snow, breezy, and then cold as we head into that Valentine's Day weekend. If we look down the line, you do see that we are looking out next week for yet another system on Tuesday. But I really think that, 2 clippers and some cold air is about all we can handle right now. So we'll worry about next week. I think that's fair.
2 clippers and some cold air.
I tell you, it sounds like a hit song.
Doesn't it? you come up with the music.
Okay.
Kyla, thanks. And listen, be sure to wake up with the Good Morning Connecticut gang. They'll be here tomorrow morning from 5 to 7 a.m.
A Tennessee couple came across a treasure at a Goodwill store, and it could bring them a lot of money.
Yeah, last June, they found an old West Point sweater at a Goodwill store in North Carolina. They bought it for 58 cents. They just thought it was a cool vintage sweater in pretty good shape. Months later, in December, they were watching a documentary about legendary NFL coach Vince Lombardi, the guy the Super Bowl trophy is named after, right? They thought they recognized the sweater he had on. They checked the tag in the back. Lombardi was written in his handwriting. Experts have authenticated it. Now, that 50-cent sweater is expected to fetch more than $20,000 at auction.
Wow, very cool.
What a find.
Just ahead tonight at 10, Hollywood Comes to Connecticut. We'll tell you about the latest movie being filmed here.
Also, driving around with your dog in your lap, it is not a good idea. Some lawmakers want to make it illegal in Connecticut. We'll take a look here when we come back. A little bit of Hollywood is in Connecticut right now.
An Independence movie is shooting scenes all over the state, including in Middletown. News 8's Kent Pierce has the details on that.
Maybe the 650 off the truck.
I think it looks good. Let's do 20 mil.
If you were wondering why guys were carrying movie equipment around Cromwell and Middletown the past couple weeks,
setting up Dana Dolly.
Here's your answer. They're making a film called Blue Line. They call it a heist film.
It's about a woman who's in a kind of a bad marriage, and she has a friend, her girlfriend, that sort of gives her an idea that might not be a bad idea to knock off her husband.
Tom Sizemore plays the detective hunting her down, and producer David Gear wanted to shoot the movie near his hometown.
I grew up down the road, so Cromwell, Middletown, it's my turf.
Mark.
They're filming the climactic car chase and explosion at a unique Middletown store, but actor, stuntman, and executive producer Thyme Lewis says Connecticut folks are going to recognize lots of the movie's locations.
They're going to recognize Wild Bill's. Yeah. What a crazy spot, right? What a crazy spot. We also shot behind ABC Pizza as a crime scene with Kevin Nash, the wrestler. We also shot at Mitchell's Diner, which was fantastic and delicious.
As great as it's been to shoot a movie in Connecticut, when you do that in February, you got to expect there's going to be some winter weather. They sure have had some in the past couple weeks. So on this set, it has been lights, camera, snowblower.
I think the snow and the snowbanks, and obviously the scenery is going to add some real drama.
What it actually does is it changes your traction of a car. Like obviously you lose traction. So there will be more slides involved in the chase. The chase will be a little bit slower.
Despite the weather challenges, the crew says the people in Connecticut have been great, and they've put dozens of them in the film.
About 100 local extras, local hires for crew, and some actors snuck in here on cameos that were friends of the production or helped out or just had a great look.
You can see them for yourself. Blue Line should be out in less than a year. In Middletown, I'm Kent Pierce, News 8.
And just ahead here tonight on News 8 at 10, an update on a possible case of bacterial meningitis at Yale. We'll tell you how that student is doing.
Lawmakers are trying to make it illegal to have your pet on your lap while you're driving. Here's Kyla.
Guess what? It is minus 31 right now up in Yellowknife in Canada, and that cold air is heading our way. I'll tell you how long the cold will last.
All right, Kylie, coming up here tonight on News 8 at 11, the family of one of the Sandy Hook victims wants to trademark her name. We'll tell you why tonight on News 8 at 11.
You're watching News 8 at 10 on MyTV9. You're watching News 8 at 10 on MyTV9.
An update now that Yale student with probable bacterial meningitis. The undergraduate has been showing signs of improvement in the last 48 hours. The student was admitted to Yale New Haven Hospital late last week. We spoke with meningitis survivor Francesca Testa, who is a high school senior, when she contracted that potentially deadly bacterial meningitis.
Within the first day and a half I was in the hospital, they told my parents to prepare for the worst and that I had about a 20% chance of survival.
She's now spokesperson for the National Meningitis Association, but lives with the long-lasting effects of meningitis, including hearing, vision, and cognitive loss. The current vaccine only covers 4 of the 5 strains of bacterial meningitis linked to those serious symptoms.
In Middletown, seniors have a brand new place to gather. The brand new $6 million facility hosts about 400 seniors weekly for yoga classes, rowing, art classes. There's even a billiard room with flat screen TVs.
We've seen an explosion of attendance that we haven't seen in years, and people just love the building. They love the architecture. They love the new furniture, the new technology that we have throughout the location, the additional programming that we're implementing. People are excited.
By the way, you don't have to live in Middletown to enjoy the senior center. You just have to be 60 years young.
All right, listen, there is a new push at the Capitol now. Some lawmakers talking about making it illegal to drive with your pet in your lap.
It would be considered distracted driving if the bill passes. News 8's Allie Reed has more.
Cruising around with Fido on your lap. It's not an uncommon scene, but if some lawmakers are successful, it will soon be illegal. The Connecticut General Assembly is considering a bill that would outlaw driving with a pet on your lap.
It's a great proposed bill. It's something that should have been done years ago.
Those who support the bill say that driving around like this is a form of distracted driving, just like talking on your cell phone or texting on your cell phone, and they want to subject offenders to the same penalties.
Actually, a dog in the front seat is more of a distraction than a cell phone.
Dog advocates say a dog should not be loose in the car to begin with, and that it definitely should not be on your lap or in the passenger seat.
They really should be in the back seat.
The dog behavioral therapists and trainers say it's safest for the dog and the driver to have the dog restrained in the back.
Best idea is to put it in the back and confine it in the back.
They have the hammocks that people sometimes use that they can hang up in the car. You can use a harness of some kind to hold your dog in place. Some people will use small soft crates. Whatever they want to use, whatever their dog's going to be most comfortable in.
Regardless of whether the bill passes, they say this is a best practice everyone should follow.
Anchor Dog Nell and I want to know what you think about this issue, so be sure to weigh in on the News 8 Facebook page. In New Haven, Allie Reed with Anchor Dog Nell.
And just ahead, Kylie Grogan has a look at your forecast.
I sure do, and boy, we got something to keep an eye on. It's a clipper rolling across the upper Midwest, heading our way. Snow comes with it. I'll have details in my full forecast coming up next.
All right, the guys over at Sports Edge have been checking out high school games all over the state tonight. They've got all your basketball and hockey highlights coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
And at 11.
Hartford now considering putting body cameras on their officers. Coming up tonight on News 8 at 11, they've already approved the first step.
All right, we were just singing the praises of the Clippers.
Yes, the
Two
Clippers.
of them, right?
Two of them. It's
Possibly.
a tale of two Clippers, everyone, with their friend freezing cold temperatures coming along with it.
Great.
I know, it's just the hits keep coming, and I hate to be the bearer of more bad news, but I have a little good news to work in there. I mean, you liked today, right?
It was great.
Okay,
Yep.
we're going to get some sunshine tomorrow, and the temperatures won't be quite as warm as today, but still a nice dry day and in the 20s. That's not bad, right?
No.
There's the good news.
But then there's the
Here comes the bad news.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Got a little story, goes something like this. Take a look at the radar, everybody. You are looking at the upper Midwest and you're saying to yourself, hey, that's not Connecticut. That crazy weather lady has lost her mind. But no, this is the system coming your way. This is the Clipper right now that's bringing snow to the upper Midwest, to places like Minneapolis and heading into Wisconsin. And it's heading our way. That's what's going to be tracking in on Thursday, but it's not here yet. Right? We're doing good just right now in New London, 28 degrees. Skies are nice and clear. Winds aren't too terribly bad either right now. You can see we're all sitting in those upper 20s. Quaker Hill 29, Lyme 30 degrees, and Lebanon about 27. As we zoom out here, you look across the state, more of the same. A few spots a little bit colder, but more or less we're in those upper 20s. Manchester 28 degrees, Terryville 25, Brookfield 28, and we're a little warmer down in Fairfield, 30 degrees for you and 31 for Byram. You won, Byram. You're the warmest in the state right now. Wind speeds, a couple spots stick out here. New Haven, obviously, 13 miles per hour. Windsor Lock, 14 miles per hour. Everyone else between that 5 and 10 range. So that will give us a little bit of a wind chill effect on those temperatures. So instead of 20s, we're feeling teens in Danbury and Greenwich, but the 20s are holding low 20s, at least in Hartford, feeling like about 21 degrees. New London at the coast about 19. Tonight, it's going to be relatively quiet. We don't have a lot going on tonight, and I think we'll take it, right? But it's going to be cold. All of that melting we had going today, we're going to see refreezing tonight as temperatures drop into the 10s and teens. Tomorrow, we'll have some sunshine, so we still continue on that trajectory, which will be nice. Temperatures working their way into the 20s, so no 30s tomorrow, not any melting likely to happen tomorrow, but at least yeah, we're not getting too terribly cold. Then we've got this situation. The two Clippers. Thursday, the first one rolls through, sets up offshore. We feel like 1 to 3 inches of snow is what it's going to be unless it sets up closer in, and then we could get more. Second one on its heels shows up just in time for Valentine's Day. Same story. The track takes it a little bit offshore. Looks like it would be about a 1 to 3 event, but we're a little far out from that second one, so we don't want to commit to any totals quite yet. And then behind this, all of this lovely cold Canadian air. Yes, the Arctic air you've been hearing about. Negative 31 right now there in Yellowknife. And it's all going to be sliding our way behind these Clippers. So the Clippers kind of open the door and in comes all this cold air, which by the way is going to push pretty far south as well. So even those down in Florida are going to be feeling a little bit colder than they're used to. Take a look at your 8-day forecast. It's a busy one, everybody, but there's your sunshine on Wednesday. Here comes our Clipper on Thursday, and then the cold sets in, and you can see it's really with us until we get into about Tuesday of next week. So it's going to be a chilly weekend. Good time to snuggle up on Valentine's Day. Your inland forecast will show you that you'll need to keep snuggling as you get into Sunday night, into Monday.
Continue into the week.
Yes, because you might even want to just carry another person on your back as you make your way into your work week next week with the low of -8. Just a suggestion. I mean, you know, right, just throwing it out there.
Body heat can't help, or it can't
Yeah,
hurt,
it
right?
can't hurt.
All right, Kyla.
Thanks so much. All right, Noah, what do you have?
Lots of high school basketball. We're going to see the #1 team in the state as it gets a good challenge tonight. Maybe the #1 player in the state as well. Plus, we'll have some collegiate hockey. It's a good show coming up when John and Eric will join me coming up next.
All right, thanks so
Okay.
much.
All right, Noah, thanks. That'll do it tonight for News 8 at 10.
Good night. Noah's next.
stuff. Hey, man. Good. Both that Sacred Heart things are online, correct? Okay. How much time? Oh.
How are we doing on time? Hey, if for some reason we go heavy, I just want to give you a couple potential kills. S10, S12. Yep. And just if we're really heavy, just make sure we generic tease. So
It's not your typical sports show. It has an edge. We're on the web, and we're on TV.
Keep it going! Win as a team. Now let's go get them. Come on.
With Noah Fins, John Pearson, and Eric Dobratz. Pull up a chair. We're talking sports on Sports Edge.
Well, hello and welcome to Sports Edge. The gang is all here. We've been out all around the state. Lots to show you tonight. More on UConn's big victory yesterday.
And some hockey. The Huskies with a big game tonight.
Yeah, but we start with some high school basketball. The feature matchup of the night, #1 Sacred Heart, top team in the state, trying to protect its perfect record with a tough one at Crosby tonight in Waterbury. What a game. They play some great basketball in that city. The Hearts have the state's best player, Mustafa Heron, and he showed it tonight. Although it was the Bulldogs who had the early lead. They were up 19-13 after the first quarter. Tyrus Sands had 10. Watch this move here from Heron. Little step inside. He really does whatever he wants on the court. With time winding down in the half, watch what happens here. Watching the clock, double team comes in, no problem. He had 19 at the break. Sacred Heart was up by 1. This thing wasn't decided, though, until late in the game. The lead changed hands a few times in the fourth quarter. Jordan Booker, the littlest guy on the court, the most excited guy, too, he had 11. His team was in front by 5, but too many weapons for this Sacred Heart team. Ty Flowers had a big game, inside and out, knocking down the 3 there. And Malik Petway helped with 11 points as Sacred Heart wins it. 35 points for Heron, 73-66 the final. They stay undefeated.
It was an intense game from the jump. They came out, they gave it their all. It's great to get out with a W.
Our guys showed some resilience. We executed when we needed to. Hats off to Crosby. They were hot. They moved the ball great. They shot the ball really, really well from the perimeter, and it kept them in the game.
Sacred Heart 3 games away from an undefeated regular season. They're now 17-0.
All right, other action tonight. Hill House with a win over Johnny Law. Academics race out to the big early lead. It's Troy Walters knocking down the 3-pointer. Some really good action in this game. Watch Joseph Kasperzik with the great moves here, and then the one-handed no-look pass to Demetrius Smith, who gets the easy lay-in. Got their coach telling them what to do out there, but Kasperzik says, hey, I got it, coach. Helps the house with the big win. 89-41 is the final.
Wilbur Cross rolls to a win over North Haven. Good crowd over at Cross. Third quarter action, Cross rolling. Robert Durant gets blocked here, but stays with it. Look at that, staying with it. Puts it right back up and in, eventually scores. Credit this tough North Haven team, though, for playing tough. Jack Steinman fighting for the loose ball and takes it in for the score. But watch this play coming up. Jameer Esdale steals the inbounds pass and takes it all the way in for the score. We think Cross won. Final score 71-46.
Well, yeah, Cross was up big late. Credit North Haven for hanging on in there. Let's move on now to the NCAA action. Fairfield University loses to Iona. Stags continue to struggle offensively, although can't say that about number 0 here, Steve Kirkland, who goes off for 23 points and 11 rebounds for the Stags. But the Stags had no answer for Kelvin Arroyo, who goes right through that Fairfield defense. 72-57, but a long and ugly season for the Stags.
Other action tonight, University of Hartford loses to New Hampshire in overtime. Yolonzo Moore had 18 in the loss.
Let's talk women's basketball. The UConn women's basketball team probably not going to get challenged again until the Final Four, and that might be a stretch saying they're going to get challenged because they're just on a roll. What a performance last night by the Huskies in front of a packed house at Gamble Pavilion. It was sold out. They were excited to see their Huskies. They were taking on the previously undefeated Gamecocks of South Carolina. People were talking about this game today, too, saying they thought UConn would win, but they didn't think they would win as easily as they did last night. Right? Yeah, all 4 players, their big players, played great. Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis, Mariah Jefferson, Brianna Stewart, Morgan Tuck. And it's hard to see this team losing again.
Then when you get 4 players to play their A game, like all 4 of those guys were on their game today, it's hard to play against us.
We just wanted to play well. I mean, it's 1 versus 2, and you want to have that number 1 spot. So we knew we had to come out and play as well as we could because they're not an easy team to play against at all.
We weren't settling. We were really attacking them, and we knew that we could drive past some of their bigs, and we got the shots that we wanted.
In this game, I think we had to prove to everybody watching that we deserve to be number 1. We're as good as people think we are.
Next up for the Huskies, Saturday at home against Tulane.
The weather kept a lot of UConn fans at home last night, but that didn't stop season ticket holders from doing a nice thing. 600 season ticket holders donated their tickets to UConn students last night. Gamble Pavilion is always loud, but another 600 students, that makes one heck of a difference.
Yeah, you know what? And it was great to see it electric like that again last night. These 50, 60-point wins really don't get the crowd that pumped up.
This one was only a 25-point victory.
Yeah, but it seemed like it was going to be close.
Yeah,
right?
Well, it was 18-18 at one point. Yeah.
Right. And hey, speaking of climbing the polls, the University of New Haven women's basketball team is ranked 20th in Division II in the country. They took on Lemoyne today. That was Aquilin Hayes for the rare early basket for the Chargers. The Dolphins of Lemoyne, though, came and just fired the ball like crazy, took a 23-7 lead in this game, but the Chargers raced all the way back to win this one and win it going away, too. 80-64, they are perfect at home.
All right, moving on up, the Albertus Magnus men's basketball team is now ranked 6th in the country. They just keep moving up. Last week, they set a school record by being ranked number 7 in the polls. Now the Falcons are 6th in the country.
Big game for the UConn men's ice hockey team tonight. The Huskies in Merrimack battling for the 8th spot in the Hockey East standings. The 8th seed gets to host a home
big game then, yes.
Home game in the playoffs. Huskies win a nail-biter. Some terrific goaltending on both sides tonight. UConn AD Ward Manuel up in the Bob Uecker seats at the XL Center. This game was intense and fast-paced. Second period, UConn goalie Rob Nichols earning his room and board tonight. Merrimack with a bunch of chances in front of the net. Nichols had 32 saves on the evening, his 3rd shutout. Later in the 3rd, still no score. Merrimack goalie Ras McTernan had 35 saves. Just gets peppered with a bunch here before it finally goes into the crowd. Less than 6 minutes ago, no score. Watch the passing. Corey Ronan to Brent Norris to Spencer Nas. Wow. Pretty. That's a game winner. Final score 1-0. UConn gets ready for a home-and-home series with Northeastern starting in Boston on Friday night.
Hey, look, they don't have a bunch of wins, but they have been really fun to watch.
Yeah, exciting team.
When Sports Edge returns, more hockey. We're going to check in on the pros, plus the secret to keeping peace at soccer games. You're going to like this one.
We told you we'd have more hockey, and we do. Let's check out the NHL. The Rangers blow a big lead to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The 2-goal lead is erased when Daniel Winnick steals the puck and gets this one in, deflected in. There you go. Rangers were up 4-2, but they don't let it get away. Late in the third, who else but Rick Nash is going to feed Matt Zuccarello, who nets his second goal of the game. That one is the game winner. Final score, 5-4.
How about the Bruins end up losing to Dallas? Boston had just come back from a 3-1 deficit to tie the game. To see this, the Stars playing shorthanded, score the go-ahead goal. Trevor Daley racing down, gets his own rebound and puts it back in. Second shorty of the game for the Stars. Final score, 5-3.
It's a tough one.
Yeah,
you come back and then a shorthanded goal to go down. All right, listen, they have found a way to curb the violence of soccer games in Brazil, and it's a brilliant idea. You take the mothers of the fans and make them security guards. You think I'm kidding, but check it out. Moms donning orange security vests, lining the field. You think about it. Who's going to storm the field and get out of hand when your mom or your buddy's mom is there to keep you in line? And it worked. No violence at the game.
That's why there wasn't many people there.
I like it. Take what's the big spring fling or whatever they do up at UConn, where all the kids up there get rowdy and drunk and cause trouble. Put all the moms up there.
You know, my mom's a real pain. I don't know if that would work for me.
Yeah, your mom's going to make trouble. Sorry, Carol. Hey, have a good night. We'll see you over at News 8 at 11. Ann and Darren are standing by. We'll see you over there.